Hey, and welcome to the Weed Out, where we weed out the bullshit and talk about the ghouls in our backyard. This week we're talking with Dev. He's a PSL organizer, Party for Socialism and Liberation, correct?
That's correct.
And so they're a smaller party in our unfortunate duopoly of parties that they have to compete with. But here at the Weed Out, we'd like to share these organizations with the greater audience because visibility is everything. And we wanted to make sure we get different people's perspectives. Devin, we've organized with online mostly. This is our first time actually chatting. So this is the first of the Weed Out doing kind of just diving into it with somebody that's in Western Mass and has similar values to us as a member of the working class. They're a photographer. They work in film. Before I ramble too much, I should probably introduce Joanna. Hey, Joanna.
Hi everyone.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
And I guess we should say hello to Devin officially. Devin, how are you doing today?
How's it going? I'm doing all right. Just another day. And
Cold today. So for
oh yeah,
so for people listening to this, maybe not right now, maybe in a year, 6 months from now, it is very cold today. It's probably the coldest day in Massachusetts so far, 2023. And it's going to get colder. Polar vortex. Climate change isn't real though. None of that. 6 weeks ago it was like way too hot. And anyways, I digress. So thank you so much for jumping on the show with us and chatting us about your causes and your organizing, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about the things you like to do, because unfortunately the time of this taping we are mourning the loss of more life by hands of the police, most notably Tyree Nichols. Unfortunately, that's the headline name. There's a lot more even this week. It's every week, it's every day, it never ends. New t-shirts are made every fucking minute, it feels like. And the Tyree Nichols thing, I mean, we should definitely chat a little bit about that, but his unfortunate murder is the way they hyped it up like an album drop. They rolled out the fucking tanks and shit in Atlanta and in Memphis, and it's so absurd. It's so absurd. And but we're going to also talk about that. Those are really sad things, but we're going to talk about positive things that are happening, and that's why we're having Dev on. So I guess Joanna, take it away.
Thank you. So thank you, Devin, for being with us. I would love it if you could just tell the audience a little bit about PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation here in Western Mass, and kind of in a nutshell what that means and how people could get a hold of the party or reach out to you if they were interested.
so we're a nationwide revolutionary socialist party that believes in replacing capitalism with a system where working and oppressed people are in power and plan the economy for the benefit of the people and the planet. Our work looks different depending on local conditions. In Western Mass, we've done Cuba and Venezuela solidarity work, anti-police brutality work, and we've hosted a number of forums and rallies about the rising cost of living and utilities in Massachusetts.
That's awesome. So recently that was in Northampton, correct?
That's correct.
And was that in like joined together with the tenants union of Western Mass as well?
Yes, that was
Okay.
in conjunction with the tenants union. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So sometimes you'll work with other groups. So this Justice for Tyree is coming up on Saturday, if I'm correct. Is that organized by PSL as well?
Yes, that is organized by us, the Western Mass PSL, in collaboration and co-sponsorship with a number of organizations. There's so
I did see a list.
many.
We can share a link to the flyer because I did see there were like a number of like 5 or more
Oh
groups
yeah,
involved. So that's great. That's
yeah,
good
and
that everybody's working together like that.
The
Oh,
Western
absolutely. I'm sorry.
Western Mass Workers Party was definitely one of them, and Northampton Abolition Now was I remember from the
From
excuse
the
me,
poster.
yeah, from the
And we
poster.
can we
And
can
that's
share that too.
yeah, it's definitely posted on the Western Mass Workers Party local. That's where I saw it originally and shared it from on the Weed Out page. We also shared it on the Weed Out pages too, so they can go there.
So if someone is interested in getting involved with the party, this one might be one of the types of events that they help organize with. And you said in the past you've done solidarity with Cuba and other things. Are there, like, I know you've said that you're a photographer and you've done video in the past. So I always like to let people know, like, it really doesn't matter like what your background is or what you're working on. Like, if you want to get involved with the party and get out there and get involved with organizing, the most important thing is like kind of reaching out to you all. So is the best place Facebook? Do you have a website? Do you have a physical place that you meet?
So as far as the Western Mass PSL, we currently don't have any social media set up, but our the PSL as a greater organization, we've got a newspaper called Liberation News that publishes articles about struggles facing working and oppressed people around the world. And we also like listening to the Socialist Program by Brian Becker, which is available on Spotify. And we follow Breakthrough News. Right now, I don't have anything to offer as far as reaching out to us specifically, but we're always open to working with people that want to see the world become a better place.
Awesome. And is there like an email address or anything like that where people could reach out or no?
At
We
the
could always
moment,
share
no,
it.
but
No, okay. We could always share anything that you can give us in the future to just put it with this recording on the website.
right. And for a little clarity, right now, the Western Mass PSL is a pre-branch. So we haven't quite made it to full branch status.
Oh, cool. So you guys, you all are just still kind of trying to get enough people together so that you can like apply for a chapter. Is that how it works?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just wondered. Is it people all throughout Western Mass, or is it like focused more in Hampden County or Franklin County, or is it kind of everyone? How does that work?
So right now, we're moving where the energy is. I'm originally from Holyoke, um, and I love that town and city, and
Here,
I know that it needs a lot of help, and I would like to be there on the ground doing that, doing just that. Right now, due to the fact that we're working in coalition and a lot of with other organizations, and it didn't feel appropriate to stage something in Northampton or to not stage, excuse me, to stage something in Holyoke when most of our connections are in Northampton, because that feels like an overreach. You know what I mean? Not
like
that I don't.
astroturfing kind of.
Yeah, it just, if we don't have that foundation there, it doesn't feel appropriate to just walk into somebody's house, start making noise when they don't even know that we're coming.
Right. Do you project a good turnout for Saturday?
Um, what upcoming weather aside, it's
Mhm.
looking like we're gonna have quite the turnout, which is exciting and
Yeah,
a little scary since this is just very new for all of us.
right. And the
Well,
reason for being there is a sad reason too. So that part is hard, but I'm glad that the community will get to come together. So
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So a follow-up question. Have you, is this, in your experience, have you done much on the ground protesting, or what's your modus operandi, I guess, of like your activism? I hate that word, but like, I don't know what else to call it, but like, so like, what do you like to do, or what do you feel most comfortable doing? I mean, obviously organizing the protests is one thing, but like your day to day, the things that like kind of make you feel like you're holding on to some.
Like me personally?
Yes. I'm just curious, like
Oh,
what drives you, like what engages you in these kind of organizing, whether it's I don't know, like we do the weed out, like that's something, some energy I can put somewhere. It's only a piece of it, but like also we like to pull records, right, Joanna?
Yeah.
that's a great question. What motivates me? Quite honestly, it's just something that I can't shake. I see so much wrong, and I've uh, experienced a lot of unfortunate side effects of being born Black in America, and honestly in the world.
Yeah.
And it just, like, I know that we can do better as a whole, and I know that we should do better, and I just try to lead with that, and that brought me here, and that's why I'm talking to you right now.
And that's, I mean, that's a great motivation. I mean, I mean, it's a shitty reason, but like we can do better. You're correct. We absolutely fucking can. I mean, as much as this stuff is really awful, and I'm a white dude, so like I can't even relate. I can feel terrible, but like that doesn't do much, not, it's, but the
And it goes beyond that, right? Because you're a white dude, but you're also, I presume, working class, like
yeah,
me and like most people,
I put it down.
right? And like, I move furniture for a living when I'm not doing photography. So like, that's, we're in the same camp, we're in the same boat, and it's sinking. Is the thing.
Yeah, I want to be able to, like, I see a future where I'm not going to be able to stand up straight, and it will
Oh,
be
for sure.
I already know, dude. I'm only in my mid-30s. I know dudes that have already dropped out, like, they had to like go on disability or whatever. And it's like, even though disability is something, it like fucks with your mind, because then you have nothing to do,
Mhm.
and doing stuff is good. It's like my thing when people criticize people of our cloth. I don't know. I don't like to throw labels on it because everybody labels themselves differently, but we all have similar values. They all overlap, right?
Right.
And it's really hard to like explain to people, like, we like to work, we like to do stuff, we like to be productive. It's good for the brain.
Right.
There's
And
nothing wrong with that, but we should not be giving up 90% of what we do.
exactly. Um, like, I love working, actually. I love doing things and making things and just picking stuff up and putting stuff down. It's something that I get enjoyment of because it's something that ends up helping other people, uh, or ultimately helps myself. But I don't think that anybody should be penalized for not being born with a silver spoon,
Mm-hmm.
and like everybody deserves to be able to live comfortable lives despite whatever work they do.
And it's not even
Abs-
penalized. It's worse than penalized. It's a death sentence. It's a death sentence, and I, I don't give a fuck. I've lost family members over this conversation. I don't give a fuck. It's a death sentence. Stop. Like, I'm not gonna let people overlook that, and that's gross. And it's baked into the system. It's baked into the cake, and but we can do better, and I'm so glad
Yes,
that.
we can do better. I'm at like be finding more people that can imagine a better world or a different world is huge, I think.
Yeah, and there are so many more people that are surprisingly more like-minded than you think. I was just driving a truck today, and uh, another truck driver and I were talking, and he was just like, "Yeah, things are just getting so expensive." He was talking about how he worries for his grandkids. He just had a grandson, and like, just like how even though we live completely different lives, he's the bridge, the gap, and that needs to be bridged is not a mile long. It's maybe a foot,
Mhm.
and it's just um, it was actually really interesting that that happened this morning and how topical it ended up being.
Capitalism, or the whatever you want to call the oppressive structure that keeps us, it seeks to isolate us, and that's why the 1 foot gap feels like a mile, like you said, and it's not. It's really I think we can all agree we hate Jeff Bezos. I think like my crazy right wing father hates Jeff Bezos. It's like, yeah, absolutely, like that should not exist. That should not be a thing. That's crazy and disgusting, and it makes me realize money's not real.
Preach, man, preach.
Sorry to hijack the segment.
Oh, don't even worry about it.
So, Joanna, do you have? I have another thought. I have a thought I would like to follow up, unless you have anything.
Go ahead, you're good.
I was going to ask. Sorry. Is there any particular call to action other than this episode is going to be recorded? It's not really going to help out the cause this week, but other than reaching out to something like the PSL, or the PSL if they exist in your area, to organize with fellow comrades or fellow citizens, is there any like call to action, or lack of a better word, plug, like anything that you're like plugged into, whether it's in Holyoke? Like my pet peeve in Holyoke is ShotSpotter. I fucking so pissed about that, and I spent like a year plus like doing my own damn thing about it, like writing letters and all the things you're supposed to do, all of them, up and down, meeting with people, asking questions, getting the information, putting it back. Anyways, so like that's that's like my little thing that I get on. What's something you would recommend, maybe could be a real problem in your name? It doesn't have to be about cops, it could be about anything, but
I mean, uh, thank you for that. Lately we've been organizing to fight the 60%, 60+% utility rate hikes. Um, that have that's just statewide, by the way, and you know, largely they could have gone up even more in other states. I My call to action would be to talk to your neighbors and ask them what their electricity bill was and what it is now, and talk to your other neighbors. And because once you realize that we're all facing the same problems, you know who to turn to solve them, and together your voices can be heard. And, you know, we don't need electricity companies gouging us for our money when everything else is also gouging us for our money. Um,
If people want to get involved with that, is there a way to get involved at the state level so that they can also like find help for electricity bills, or like the amount that it's gone up? Because I do know a lot of people, even myself, that have mentioned how much it's gone up.
um, that would obviously depend on locality and depend on your provider. I know that EverSource sent out a email about things that can help bring your electricity bill down, and then it was like, use less electricity.
Oh, I think I've seen that. I can share some stuff on our website, but I wondered if like I just wondered too, like, is there a way for someone to get like, what should someone do if they want to get involved in helping like PSL move the electric companies or the state level politicians to make laws that like cap things? Is that kind of the goal, like the whole?
Yes, sort of. We're starting with the municipality level,
Okay.
um,
So by each
because
town or
yeah,
city, depending.
yeah,
Okay,
because every town and city has a different deal and a different provider.
right.
Sometimes it's split in half, and so starting with your city council might probably is likely the best bet. Um,
Okay.
and you know, making some noise outside of the office might be helpful. But
And thank you
um,
for saying that, because thank you for saying everybody works a lot and it's tough, but it's like, honestly, I feel like in my short time of being a political activist and being a white guy, for the most part, doors open for you. And like the stonewalling of the quote unquote traditional ways to talk to these people doesn't work. And I thank you for saying like we should be outside their offices and protesting. And because this stuff is, but it's hard because we're all just grinding, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's like how can you and then go risk getting beat up by a cop?
I would
and
urge people though, like at the minimum that they could show up to public meetings usually, and a lot of them are still being virtually held and in each
yes,
like different municipality. So that is a nice option.
and a lot of budgetary proceedings are happening, or at the very least, Northampton just announced their budget, or the proposed budget rather. Um, I believe Tuesday, and that was over Zoom with no public comment. Uh, but definitely attend those because it's the easiest way to be informed. Um,
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. This is a good time for people to really get involved. If you're listening in your local municipalities, you can see what the government is spending the money that they tax us for on, like specifically the council or the select board, depending on who makes the decisions, can kind of go through each article and decide if they're going to give that money to a department or not give that money to a department. So it will go all the way from like DPW down the line to schools, and then all the police usually have a huge budget depending on the town. So I would urge people to take a look because I do that in a lot of episodes. So thanks for pointing that out, Dev. Between now and May, and a lot of municipalities will be how like when they finalize this stuff. So great stuff to watch, honestly.
oh
It's
yeah, and
really it's eye opening, like you said. Like once you see how kind of how things are done or how money is spent and how many neighbors are like you, it's interesting to see actually.
yeah, and uh, it's always interesting to see where your money is going.
Hmm. Ain't that the truth?
I agree. I agree. And
And
especially as we
oh,
think of like imagining a better world or a better place. I always think about like when I tell people to listen to the budget and stuff, like there are ways in our own life where we may like reallocate funds or do something differently. And I feel like that's not a bad thing to do. So I think when people think about like defunding the police or abolishing the police or things like that, they don't realize that there'd be all this money would be left for like services or for people's needs or for things that like the root causes of sometimes what they think police are necessary for. So I do think it's important that people really are aware of how much money your town even actually has too.
oh, it's wild. And it's also uh, interesting how, you know, we know, like we've studied, we know that more services, better education for communities uh, make communities safer, not police. But for some reason, people just don't want to let it go. And that's kind of what the goal is here is to help people understand that, you know, we can do things differently and get better results and have healthier, safer neighborhoods, and, you know, just better quality of living overall when we're not having to look over our shoulders all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. And I think that's one of the reasons, like you said, like it's always good to know how your money's being spent. Like once I was able to start voting and see and like could see that stuff, it was interesting to be able to just look. So again, I can't thank you very much for bringing that up. And I missed the Tuesday meeting, so I will have to go back and look. Because Northampton's one that usually has a really high budget, and I know with the dispensaries in town and the money coming in from those at this point, I'm sure they have like even a surplus at this point of tax dollars.
Yeah, probably. A lot of unused grant money too.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that makes sense though. I know that they do have like projects they're working on, and I know the Department of Community Care, if that's still the name of it, is hiring for two positions right now at this time, like director and then like a community outreach person. So I'm sure they'll need money for all that stuff, but just thanks for pointing that out. I think it's important that people pay attention to that and kind of just know, like you said, like in your community, you're much more similar to your neighbors than you'd think. A lot of us are facing very similar issues and problems, and especially when it comes to bills and electricity and heat and food and housing and all of those things. In Western Mass, there's a community of people that can imagine a better world and are trying to actively do that. So thank you, Dev. Thank you to the PSL and all of the groups that you're working with for organizing and doing these really important events where you're getting out there, you're getting people's attention. And I think about issues that are so important and so meaningful for when the community does come together. Like you said, like hopefully change can and will happen. And that's I think the overarching like hope goal and like I think what brings us all joy at the end of this.
I just want to thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate somebody willing to share their experience, because we feel that sharing each other, this isn't, you know, we got to use the tools we can do, and if we can put out an audio recording that people can listen to at their leisure and see that this isn't just happening off in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Like this isn't just some town in New Jersey. It's everywhere, and it's right next door. Like you said, like reach out to the neighbors. And you know, before we like sign off here and move and say goodbye, I guess like I have a few questions. I have one more question. And what brings you joy? Like because obviously joy is very important to like mentally get through this. So like what brings you joy? Let's like end it on a nicer note.
What brings me joy? What brings me joy is just the act of creating. Taking something that was in my mind and using the tools that I have afforded to me to make something with that I can then translate to the physical world. That is the greatest joy that I have. Second, maybe to seeing the smile on somebody's face after, you know, help them get that, like, I don't know, they were short on their groceries or something. You're like, oh, I got you. I don't know. There's something magical about helping others.
Joanna, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just gonna thank Dev and completely agree with there is something magical about helping others, and it's wonderful to meet other people that feel that way too. So thank you so much for your time again and for all that you do for the community, that Western Mass community, in my opinion. And we're just gonna keep following along and Yeah, it's just exciting stuff.
Well, thank you for having me on, and like, thank you for this opportunity. And there's no need to thank me yet because we're just getting started.
Right. Well, it's important to encourage each other. So, um, before you go, I want to extend an invitation for you to come and hang out with us while we started this segment a few weeks ago. It's called Ghoulery and Tomfoolery. It's where we highlight some fucking ridiculous thing that's happening, and there's no shortage. And do you want to stick around for the Ghoulery and Tomfoolery?
You know what? Absolutely.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna keep it pretty brief because you can go on our Twitter page and kind of just figure out what's going on if you're really, and the listeners, if you're really curious. But essentially, this freshman representative in the state house of Massachusetts, the glorious legislature, this woman, this Congress, I don't know, what do you call him, Joanna? State rep?
I'm not sure who came up with this, actually. I can look now,
I don't know, but
though.
what do you call the position? It's a state rep, right? In Massachusetts, it's not Congress, it's a
Maybe.
state rep. So she's not a senator; she's a state rep, and she proposed a bill. Her name is Judith Garcia. I think she's from Chelsea or somewhere around there. Her name's Judith Garcia, and she proposed a bill with a guy from Springfield. I can't recall his name, but she's like lead author, and she's like progressive supposedly. And the bill is essentially, if you're in jail, there's a program, an incentive program to to sell bone marrow and other organs as a way to shorten your prison sentence. Um, I have lots of fucking questions. Well, actually, no, I that's a fascist policy. That's an example of a progressive being a fascist. This is the problem with these white modern. She's not white. She's Hispanic or Latino, and but that's the classic American white supremacy policy. It's like, this is a good thing. And it's like, no, it's actually incredibly fucked up, because then you can just keep locking people up for stupid reasons and then harvest their organs for science. If that's literally what the fucking Nazis did, we just do it. We're doing it with capitalism. So, Joanna, should we cede the ground and let Dev take second crack at this story and Ghoulery and Tomfoolery? You're cool with going third?
Sure.
Great. Well, Dev, hot take on this, please.
Hot take. Oh, geez. I saw this earlier today. I almost threw my phone across the studio. I'm not gonna lie.
She finally
It,
responded. She did a report with Politico. So I haven't read it. It just came up in the last like 20 minutes. So this is going to be updated probably next week.
it, uh, wow. It really said, oh, why don't you just like sell your body, even though we currently already own your body, but sell the parts of your body we can't legally take from you, and maybe we'll let you go. That I have so many thoughts and so many things that I could say, but that's an atrocious policy, and I hope that it never sees the light of day.
But this is vote blue no matter who, man. It's blue MAGA. This is what happens when you vote on party lines.
Definitely do not endorse any one person, especially from either of those parties. It just
I can't believe they're the quote unquote better choice. It's like laughable. At least the Republicans in this country are honest.
in the deceit, yeah.
They just straight up say they don't like you. It's like, well, that's cool. Like the Democrats, I don't know. That's just my one man's opinion.
Oh.
Take your money. They don't like you though.
I mean, we'll shout from the rooftops that we're going to fix this thing until the scary other team says no.
Good take. Joanna, you've been oddly quiet. Are you just mortified?
I'm so horrified by this, obviously. And the fact that they think it will restore, like it says the legislative sponsors say that it will restore bodily autonomy to incarcerated people. I'm just like, it's so coercive to offer time reductions for bone marrow, or like who decides, like there's a 5-panel committee, it says. I'm reading, that's why I'm quiet. That would decide on these things, but like I definitely have to see Garcia's response to this. Obviously, it looks like Representative Carlos Gonzalez
Spring.
was the person they're working with. This guy kind of says that he's okay with it. So like he stands behind it. This is a Gizmodo article that I'm just looking at and read, like, kind of
Scanning.
Yeah, scanning, and I'll share it on the website, but he kind of stands behind the decision. And they have all these reasons why it would be good, but I feel like it's just definitely horrifying overall. So I hope that, because I've seen it, like you've both mentioned, like on Twitter a lot actually. I hadn't seen all this background stuff that I'm looking at now. I just think that I think enough people will make noise that it may not go anywhere. That's my hope. Because there are a lot of really good people working on like decarceration and anti-prison stuff in the state that I know were immediately retweeting and going after this, but I just can't believe that it would be considered at all. It's honestly so shocking.
Well, good news. We're ratioing her Black History Month post. The comment section.
Oh my God.
They're very like calm, but savage replies. Like everybody's done, like there isn't one thumbs up, no bots, nothing. It's just people highlighting the bill she's proposing. And it's it did give me gave me a little chuckle that she is getting ratioed on her Black History Month post 2 days after she posted proudly, very proudly. She's so confused. The headline I saw from this Politico article, I haven't read it, but the headline basically is like, I stand by my controversial bill. That's basically the headline. And it's like, that's a weird take. That's a weird way to handle PR. But hey, America.
And like, not only that, it like poetically, it's perfect that her Black History Month post is getting absolutely ratioed into the deepest depths of the hell because of this policy that will no doubt disproportionately affect Black people.
It's like,
absolutely.
That's just like, it's not even a question. It's disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah,
it is. I can't, that's why I like, and I should be able to believe it based on how the world works, but it's very shocking that just because, like, if this became like a reality, and it would be so scary because I feel like inmates and people who are incarcerated have such a hard time even at this point, like not saying no to something, or like having any sort of control. Like if this program were real, they could just like honestly take someone's like organs and say that they were part of this program. Like it's kind of horrifying if I go down the deep dark path in my brain, and it already is to begin with. So I really hope that coercing prisoners to give up their organs disappears and goes away from. In this article, it says, did you expect this to be on your 2023 apocalyptic bingo card? And it's like, no, I did not. So I would like it to be gone.
I don't know why I didn't expect it, to be honest, but like every day I wake up and every day I'm shocked. And when will we learn to not be shocked anymore?
Thank you for saying that, really, because for real.
To me, I was just like, so we can just let them out?
Exactly.
And then if they want to go sell their organs, they can sell their organs. Like,
I mean,
but we can let them. Like, what you're saying is the time means nothing. It's absolutely arbitrary. Like,
well, it's
well, they
because
will have a committee, but still.
I'm just
it's
saying.
I
It's
mean, do you know how
arbitrary.
much an organ is worth?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like prisoners are already not being compensated for the work that they're forced to do, uh, which leaves them at a massive disadvantage when they are released from prison. And on top of that, you're like, oh yeah, why don't you give us your kidney? You got two of them, uh, but you're not getting kidney prices.
Nope.
It's
Yeah, it's
Or are you getting
despicable.
the
It's really
satisfaction
bad.
of knowing the person, or like doing the the right thing as a fellow human being, as opposed to like literally you have no choice.
yeah,
I know they're making it the bills like, hey, they can opt in. Okay, okay.
Well, yeah, and like prison's already so bad, like actually, and that's like, I mean, I know like maybe local jails, if you're like being held at a local jail, it's not torture, but like if you're in a state facility, it's pretty, I feel like jail is really bad. I
sure.
personally am an abolitionist. I feel like it's horrible. This just makes it so,
It's like
I can't
next
believe
level.
oh,
abolitionist.
yeah, it's next level for real, and it's already bad.
I'm
Like it's
shocked.
already so bad.
It shocks me every day that people think we're
Yeah.
like, I'm an abolitionist, like first and foremost. That's because of my trauma of growing up in an authoritarian household and being in the Catholic Church for 18 years. Like, it fucked my head up. I can't even think about the bigger system. Like, I can't even think about all the other things. I'm like, just get the fucking boot out of here. That's like all I can think about. So that's why I'm the way I am. Just full disclosure to everybody that's listening. Like, yeah, I'm hyper focused on that because fuck, I like the physical violence makes me so angry. But it's like, how am I the crazy one? Like, why am I the crazy one? Like, you were talking about harvesting bone marrow from prisoners. It's just like, oh, like, and what is a crime? And then the rabbit hole we all go down, right?
I've lit kindred spirit right now. Just preach like saying the song in my heart. Like, man, how are we the crazy ones? Is that's gonna be
I
my
get it,
my epitaph.
they act like we don't know it's going to be hard to change this. Yeah, it's going to be fucking hard, but isn't it worth it? Like, what?
Well, this dark part about this article is also saying, and I'm sorry to go even darker, but Gonzalez, Representative Carlos Gonzalez points out that the intent of the bill was to provide inmates with the opportunity to save the life of a family member or friend, the same right as any individual in the state has. So I didn't know that before this. If someone I'm family members with was incarcerated, that if they I didn't know that I couldn't like get an organ or bone marrow donation from them. Okay, like that's fine. So this gentleman's arguing he's always for inmate rights because he does have like family and he knows other people involved in the system. And I always do hope people's intentions were good, but this part's a direct quote. I'm just going to share it. The same program could be established without reduction in sentencing, Gonzalez said. We're open to having discussions throughout the course of the legislative session or whether a sentence reduction component is appropriate. So
So what's the point?
yeah, I feel like
What's
I
even
mean,
more?
I guess
Like,
I feel like it's weird. I need to look into this more because I I guess like inmates should be able to help their family and stuff, but if it goes into effect either way, it's bizarre. It's definitely like the type of stuff that you would just hope that you would not read about.
it seems like a
So I hope,
specific law to cover a very like specific provision. Like,
yeah, I'll look that up actually, and I'll put it on like with this episode. Like I'll put up a little
I,
write up with it because I wonder if there's like a specific thing not allowing that for prisoners, and maybe this comes from a place of like that trying to be helpful, but the way it reads is so scary. I hope that there are activists and people working in prison abolition and organizing in that area. I know their voices are hopefully being heard, because I know here, like this article, even just like there's articles all over when I Google search, so it's being covered a lot. I think a lot of people, and Dev pointed out, like when you make some noise, so even just emailing or calling either of these people, and saying that you completely disagree with their bone marrow and
Or
organ
just, at the
harvesting.
very least, jump on the Twitter ratio.
Mhm.
Yeah, what either thing.
At least
The
make
people's elbow.
yeah, make them a national laughing stock. Let's let it go viral. I mean,
That's well, and that's and then they may just let it go away, which is good.
no, and the other thing is, at the end of the day, when you're talking about caging humans, there's no negotiation here. They don't have to have stipulations. We all know most of these people are in there for really unfair fucking reasons. And they're there because they're there to fill a bed, and they're recidivists because they grew up in the foster care system. It's all connected. It's all a money laundering scheme to take money out of the taxpayer and to point the finger at those people and say they're the problem, when the problem is robber barons. End of story. It's the same fucking story that we've been talking about. The characters just change because they literally fucking die. So we like have to like learn the new ghoul that's coming up. Like Jeff Bezos is on the second half of his life, right? Well, he might be immortal. We don't know.
I was going to say something about a phylactery, but
Who knows what the fuck he's gonna do? But like the next ghoul is 16 years old right now, and not to be like creepy about it, but like this isn't just going to go away with the generations. Unfortunately, it seems to be a repeating cycle in our society, and we keep letting them get away with it, and we can't anymore. So prisoners should just be let out. Like that's I'm not going to coerce them out. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know prisoners legal services are like definitely working on it. So like people, like multiple groups. I'll share some articles about it, but it's horrible.
Yeah,
I'm also
Like Black
curious
and
to
Pink
read.
Mass.
Oh, sorry.
please go ahead, Deb.
Oh, I'm also curious to read like the proposed bill to like get a full scope of that, whatever that thing is, you know, um, because like knowing is half the battle, right? Because like it's easy for us to be like, oh yeah, this thing is bad for the obvious reasons, and then uh, somebody jumping to the defense, um, actually, and hits you with something like buried in there that sounds good, but being able to dissect it and uh, come away with concrete defenses is really important, and it's going to be more important moving forward as more bizarre and atrocious bills rear their ugly heads uh, in the coming months and years. It's going to be important to be really informed.
Absolutely. And so that means this is we're wrapping up here, and I want to thank you again for sticking around for our fun segment where something and this is going to have a part two. Like we're going to come back to this because it needs to be kept up with. I mean, just more for the optics of like you think this is an okay bill, like it's not. It's really inhumane. And like you said, hey, we got to do our homework, and that's where it's a good time to plug. Like, please go to our website, check out. Um, this is anybody listening, if you're curious about things we said and highlighted, we share that on our Substack and on our website. So that's like that's our bibliography for the episode. We like to have it's easy to listen, but then to go read's another way to retain it and get the details, like you said. And follow us and we'll share other people that we like to platform. So everybody, please go check that stuff out. Theweedout.com. And as always, please leave a review or rate it, and it's good for to get us into the algorithm, yada yada yada. So thank you,
That's search
everybody.
engine optimization. Sorry.
Right? Yeah, you gotta play the game, man. You know, you gotta hustle, you gotta grind. But we're just trying to, this is the weed out. We're just trying to grow a nice garden and weed out the nonsense. And we appreciate everybody. We appreciate you, Devin, and look forward to following you along your journey and working with you in the future in some capacity. Who knows? But we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here. So we appreciate you. That's all I have to say. So Joanna, please, Devin, you guys take it out.
Thanks again, Dev, and take care, everyone.
Thank you for having me once again, and y'all have a great one.